People who hoarded gas 2 weeks ago, how are things going for you now? One of my deadbeat neighbors decided that they were going to buy two 250-gallon pump tanks and weld them into the bed of their old ass T100. They then proceeded to fill them up at their local Costco. They then decided it would be a smart idea to put a sign on their truck with outrageous price goosing level prices and post up in a parking lot in a fairly bad area of town. He was held up in a matter of minutes. Truck and gas stolen. This was in Southern California, where there is absolutely zero risk of a gas shortage. It amazed me to see places untouched by the pipeline had hoarding issues. Friend in Texas was confused seeing the hoarding. She's like, "We're in Texas. Where do you think the pipeline was coming from?" "I'm Philly area." I made sure we had topped off the tank in the car, which we did a few days before, and that was it. Besides, we had the ports, as did NYC and New England, Florida, and probably Georgia were okay too. Really the only places where one would need to worry were mid-Atlantic and inland a ways. Edit. More local folks have said GA was not fine. Whoops, sorry about that. Second edit. I guess I should have said places that should have been fine as long as idiots didn't panic. But, well, yeah. Not me, but one of neighbors on the My Neighbors app asked for help moving a plastic barrel he filled with gas. I didn't respond, but that post showed up again because of the activity on the post. Man couldn't find help, so he did his sensible thing and rolled the barrel off his truck. The top popped off and he spilled a bunch of gas onto his lawn. Edit 1. To address the biggest concern, I'm assuming the post had been taken down, likely because someone mentioned the fines. I scrolled and scrolled last night after making this comment and couldn't find the post. I wanted screenshots. At the time I laughed a bit at the situation but didn't think there would be a hazmat issue. I do not recall the name of the neighbor, but I might remember the biopic. If he posts again, I'll message him. Edit 2. After reading more and more of the comments, I now have a genuine concern. I don't believe anyone here uses well water. I know it wasn't someone in my street, but I'll drive around this weekend, garage sales, and if I happen to notice that someone's yard is dead, I'll stop by and see if I smell gas and make the call. My mom has a 100-gallon barrel full of gas. Not because she hoards, she just uses it to fill her mowers, tractors, and cars. She lives on 10 acres of grass, lots of mowing, and when my dad was alive we used tractors quite a bit. Still has it from then. It's not illegal at all to have that much gas, it's just illegal to improperly store it. Most farmers have at least one 100-gallon barrel of gas, and most bigger farmers have at least a 300-gallon tank of diesel on their property. Yep. I grew up on a farm and we had an above-ground fuel tank full of gasoline for fueling tractors. A hand backed a tractor into one and knocked it over, spilling a couple 100 gallons on the ground. Nothing grows there to this day, and the spill happened almost 40 years ago. I was doing some pile driving work on the TN River in AL. All of a sudden there was a horrible sheen on the water and the air reeked of diesel fuel. We immediately went and checked our 500-gallon fuel tank and all of our other equipment trying to find the leak, but couldn't find anything. We of course contained the area and reported it. That's when our site contact came down and told us they used to have a 1,000-gallon fuel tank on the river bank that had been struck and leaked 1,000 gallons of fuel into the water. While we were pile driving, all the fuel that had been held down by the sediment had broken loose and floated to the surface. Alabama Department of Environmental Management showed up, pretty much shrugged their shoulders and said, "Yep, this spill was already reported 10 years ago, so we're not going to do anything about it." All I can say is that I was absolutely livid about the entire situation. Might have been a case of better off leaving it alone. Probably should have been some kind of zoning restriction to keep it from being disturbed. I lived in Great Falls, Montana, and there is a park next to the Missouri River. I was part of committee on park planning and someone mentioned building a concert hall on the property, and we were told the soil couldn't be bothered more than a few because an old oil refinery had been there at one point and ground underneath was very polluted. There was a small spike in car fires along the interstate where I lived during the time when people were hoarding. Can't say for certain if the events are related, but the timing was sure on point. There were several news stories of people dying in fiery crashes, garages burning down. I don't have links at the moment. Just from memory. People just don't think. I don't have a link to the story, but one I heard was about a lady who filled up a bag with gas and then it leaked out in her car. She went to a nearby gas station to vacuum it out of her car and then it all just kind of blew up in face. Yikes. Probably gonna get put on some sort of list, but I got some sort or anarchist cookbook when I was like 11 years old. Most of the stuff in the cookbook was bogus, like baking banana peels in the oven to create a hallucinogenic drug. But napalm was our jam. We made lots and lots of napalm. That stuff was great. We'd cover bowling balls in it and light them and roll them down the hill at the local community college. We'd cover the base of our skateboards in it and it would burn for a long time. You could get multiple shots of kick flips off the curb on camera before it went out. We made bows and shot arrows covered in napalm. We put it on a beehive one time. I'm probably forgetting a lot of napalm stories, but that shit was a childhood staple. I remember cooking lots of it, sometimes with close calls. I'm surprised none of us had lifelong injuries.